Today we will explore one of the most impactful and dramatic stories in the Bible, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Get ready for a journey full of details, lessons and reflections on justice, mercy and repentance. Our story begins with Abraham, the patriarch of the people of Israel, who was living on the plains of Mamre. One day, while sitting at the entrance to his tent, Abraham saw 3 men approaching. He ran to meet them and invited them to rest and eat. These men were, in fact, angels sent by God. The angels revealed to Abraham that they were on their way to Sodom and Gomorrah to verify the great wickedness of these cities and, if necessary, to destroy them. Abraham, concerned about the destruction of the cities, especially since his nephew Lot lived in Sodom, began to intercede with God. He asked if God would destroy the cities if there were 50 righteous people in them. God replied that if he found 50 righteous people, he would spare the cities. Abraham continued to intercede, reducing the number of righteous people to 45, then 40, 30, 20, and finally 10. God promised that if he found 10 righteous people in Sodom, he would not destroy the city. The 2 angels arrived in Sodom at dusk and were met by Lot, who was sitting at the city gate. Lot invited them to spend the night in his house, offering them hospitality. However, the men of Sodom from all over the city surrounded Lot's house and demanded that he hand over the visitors so that they could abuse them. Lot went out to speak to the crowd and tried to protect them by offering his own daughters in place of the visitors. However, the crowd became even more angry and tried to break down the door. The angels pulled Lot back into the house and blinded the men outside, preventing them from finding the door. The angels told Lot that he and his family must leave the city immediately, for God was about to destroy it. They instructed Lot to take his wife and 2 daughters and flee to the mountains without looking back. Lot hesitated, but the angels grabbed him by the hand and led him out of the city. As they fled, Lot's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. Lot and his daughters continued their escape and took refuge in a cave in the mountains. At dawn, God rained sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah, completely destroying the cities, their inhabitants, and all the vegetation around them. Smoke rose like smoke from a furnace, and the cities were reduced to ashes. But what prompted God to destroy these cities so drastically? Sodom and Gomorrah were known for their great wickedness and sin. The inhabitants of these cities were guilty of several serious sins, including sexual immorality, violence, injustice, and inhospitality. They lived in complete rebellion against God and his commandments, and their wickedness had reached an unbearable point. The Bible mentions that Sodom's sins included pride, overeating, and contempt for the poor and needy. They were arrogant and committed abominations before God. Their attempt to abuse the visiting angels was a clear example of the moral depravity that prevailed in the city. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah teaches us several important lessons. Divine justice. God is just and does not tolerate sin and wickedness. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a warning about the consequences of sin. Mercy and intercession. Abraham's intercession shows that God is merciful and willing to spare the righteous. Prayer and intercession for others are powerful. Obedience and repentance. The escape of Lot and his family highlights the importance of obedience to God's instructions and repentance. Lot's wife looking back serves as a reminder of the consequences of disobeying God. Divine protection. God protects those who are faithful to him. Angels protected Lot and his family from the mob and guided them to safety. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is a powerful reminder of God's justice and mercy. It calls us to live righteous lives, intercede for others, and obey God's instructions. May we learn from this story and seek to live according to God's will. If you enjoyed the story, subscribe to the channel and leave a like, and see you next time.